All right, guys, I'm here with Alex Malchow, football player, writer, student, world traveler, citizen of multiple countries. Alex, what's going on?
Hey Ty, thanks for having me on your podcast.
Of course. So I wanted to kind of get into your background. It's very interesting. So you grew up, your mother is German, I believe, but grew up in the States, I think near Washington, D.C. Kind of just give us your growing up story, that kind of household dynamic and everything that went along with that.
Sure thing. Yeah, like you said, my mother is from Germany. She actually met my father when she was a tourist in America and asked for directions, and then ended up staying in America with my father, who is originally from Mississippi. He worked in politics, so I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. And because of my mom's German heritage, we ended up going to Germany once or twice a year for Christmas and in the summer. So I was lucky to have, different cultures in my life and be able to speak German as well at home. Lots of good German cooking as well and great vacations. So I was really lucky to have those two influences.
What part of Germany is your mom from?
Oh, so she's from a small town called Schmidtmühlen, which is in the Bavarian forest near kind of between Munich and the Czech Republic. So very like rural Bavarian vibes. They speak with a very strong Bavarian dialect as well. So it was a little bit tough for my father, who studied German textbooks, and then he gets there and it's a little bit different. But it's a great place. I go there usually once a year, like I said. So when the pandemic is over, I can't wait to go back and visit.
And does your dad have a real Southern Mississippi drawl to him at all? So she was getting something different too?
No, it's not too bad. It comes out every once in a while, but he keeps it pretty subdued these days.
So when did you start playing football, basketball, other sports? What sports did you start playing, and what age?
Sure. I really didn't play any sports until seventh grade, and then I hit a little growth spurt and felt a little bit more confident to get out there. Played American football, and I remember I had no idea what was going on, if I was on offense or defense, but of course I was a lineman, so I just hit the guy in front of me. Um, I started playing basketball as well, and was lucky. It was going to a really small school that really didn't have a big sports environment. And then for high school, I kind of was falling in love with football at that point in eighth grade, like a lot of eighth graders do.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go to a high school that really had a nice football program. So I ended up going to St. John's High School in DC, which has now become like a really strong high school program. When I was there, they were not quite as good as they are now. But it was a great place. I had awesome coaches, and that's kind of where football became like a bigger and bigger part of my life.
So when did you start to feel like you kind of started to hit that next level of like football really clicked for you, that it was kind of your sport, you saw that you were having success at it, you thought you could keep playing into college? What year was that in high school?
I would say my sophomore year. So my freshman year, the coaches had invited me to practice with varsity, and I was one of just a few freshmen that got that chance, and that kind of gave me some confidence. But as a ninth grader, you're not thinking like long term. You're just kind of in the moment. And I remember my coach sat me down and he said, "Alex, what's your goal? Do you want to start next year on varsity?" And I had never even thought of it. I was like, "Me? Sure." And then after that moment, I just really bought in, and and luckily the program where I was at, we had a lot of college players coming out every year. So I knew if I had playing time, there would be a college team that would take me.
Right, exactly. So was it center right away, or where did you kind of start D-line, O-line? What was going on?
No, no. I was like banned from D-line completely. We would of course, have practice offense and defensive line, but they didn't want me at D-line at all. They would make me practice against, like I would be the dummy. That's how much they didn't want me on D-line. So they just put me at center, and that's kind of where I found a home in high school. I think I played every snap at center.
What'd you like about center? You're kind of the quarterback of the offensive line, running things. What did you like most about it?
What I really liked about it was the leadership position. So that kind of was hard as a sophomore, but as you got more playing time, um, by the time I was a senior, we had a really experienced O line, and our communication was really good. And yeah, just being kind of the vocal leader of the offensive line, which is kind of hard for someone young, but you grow into that role and embrace it and love it even more and more as the more time you spend with it.
So how were you guys as a team those 3 years, sophomore, junior?
We were okay. We were like 6-5 or 5-6, like pretty average. Um, we played in like a pretty tough conference against like Stephon Diggs and some other like good NFL guys in the Washington D.C. Maryland area. It's pretty serious football. Yeah, Stephon Diggs pretty much like haunted my high school career. He had like a 105-yard interception return and would just spank us every year. But O line was pretty decent at least.
So going into your senior year and then trying to come down to that college choice, how'd you go about all that?
Sure. So I knew being a 5'9", 240-pound offensive lineman, I was not getting going to get recruited by Nebraska or Ohio State. So I knew kind of I was going to play Division III football, and I was looking at different schools. I went on a visit to Dickinson College in Pennsylvania, and then I went on a visit to Denison, and I saw them play Wittenberg, which is a pretty serious Division III program. And I just fell in love with the campus, and Denison felt like the best mix of like high-end liberal arts from the academic side. And they had just gotten this brand new athletic facility, and they seemed like they were kind of buying more into athletics. So I thought it was a good mix, and went with Denison.
Was there any thought about going over to Europe or over to Germany, or when you have those two families there, was there any thought of doing something different at any of those earlier stages?
No, no, I really didn't think about living in Europe at all until after college.
Okay.
Uh, just because I think I was just spending like 2 weeks at a time, in Germany visiting, and so I didn't see it as like a place to stay and make a life. I saw it as a vacation spot, at
Right.
least at that age.
So how was your transition into college football, into Denison?
It was tough. It was tough for sure. Uh, I think I failed the freshman conditioning test, and
Well, they have you
uh,
300-yard shuttles, or what was it?
yeah, 6 a.m. 300-yard shuttles. I was
Yeah.
not ready for those. Um, yeah, it was definitely tough. I think because I was a little bit undersized, and we had some big incoming linemen. It took some time for the coaches to notice me a little bit there, because they obviously they see a big kid, they're going to pay attention to him. And um, but yeah, my time at Denison, it was really good. It was tough the first year. Any freshman coming into college football, it's definitely an adjustment period. So yeah, I don't enjoy thinking about my freshman training camp experience.
Yeah. How did you balance? You have the frame that you have, and their coaches are going to want to make you bigger. But if some of that bigger could be bad, could make you slower. How do you balance that when you're like, this is what I've been given. How do I make the best lineman with what I've been given at this size?
It was tough to balance that. I think I just tried to put on like as much weight as I could. Some of it good, some of it bad, and that definitely led to some injuries, to be honest. But when I think it's tough when you're at that age. You don't understand like everything that goes into it, the training and mobility. Sometimes you have to learn the hard way. So I actually tore my ACL and had a bunch of ankle injuries. So I was injured a lot in college, probably partly at least, because I was trying to pack on weight fast.
Yeah.
So don't ask me. I did not do a good job of it in college.
We had a fairly similar sized center though, and he struggled with that same thing where they'd want him heavier, then he would get hurt, and then he would feel like he couldn't move as fast, couldn't kind of took away what he was good at. How were you guys at Denison? The success of the team, the success of the program. How was your experience just overall?
My experience was pretty good, I have to say. I really enjoyed it. I got really close with the team there, and I was really happy to have like a strong community in college.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I think it was the second or third year of the head coach was my freshman year, so he was relatively new to the program. So as soon as my class got there, I think we were his second recruiting class. So we just took off with Coach Hayden there, and we just got better every year. So I think my first year we were 6-4, the next year 7-3, and then my senior year we were 8-2, and now they've won conference back to back times. So like they've just improved every year. When we graduated, we were the winningest class in history, which is pretty cool. Now, the next class is, but at the time we were, so that was kind of nice.
But you were part of kind of the changing of the culture, the switching of the thing. So at what point did you start to think, okay, I'm going to try to turn this into something in Europe, or I know about football in Europe, or that side of the brain started to switch over?
Sure. So I was actually studying, I did a summer abroad in Heidelberg, Germany,
Mhm.
and we had like a week off. So I went to visit my family. I have some cousins that live in Munich. So I went to go visit them, and they took me to an American football game because they knew I was playing and they wanted something for me to do. So we saw like a third league game with the Munich Rangers playing the Kirchdorf Wildcats.
Mhm.
And I remember watching them. There was like maybe 100 people there. I remember watching them thinking, I could play this with these guys. This would be a fun summer, playing in Germany. So actually, then before my senior year, I went ahead and got the German citizenship from the German embassy, which was nice. I had originally done it like just maybe for work. It's just a good thing to have in general, football aside. Um, but then obviously it led to a ton of football opportunities.
Yeah, 100%. So choosing that first club in Germany, how did you go about that process then? Because you didn't end up in Germany, so you ended up in Europe, but not Germany, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's right. It's so I wanted to graduate and do my graduation ceremony and walk across the stage and do all that. So that was happening in the middle of May. And when I was chatting with teams that winter, a lot of them wanted me to come earlier, and Um, but this team in Finland, they just told me like, yeah, whenever you could come, we'll love to have you. So I was like, okay, perfect. I didn't really even know like where Finland was, to be honest. I looked it up on the map, but I was just excited that a team wanted me to play for them. So yeah, I ended up in Hamelina, Finland with Coach Stan Bedwell there. That was a great introduction to football in Europe because Finland is a good mix of something new for Americans and like serious football, but not like at the same pressure that maybe like a top league in Germany would have. I
Mhm.
think it's a good mix of like lifestyle and football there. So it was a great introduction for me.
How was you dealing with the sunlight all day, right? That starts to happen when you're up there, and then what kind of offense did you guys run in college?
We ran like a pistol spread.
Pistol spread. So then when you
Yeah.
went to Finland, you're probably running some with that coach. You're running something crazy, right?
Yeah, we ran air raid, of course, with Stan. So we threw the ball like 40 times a game. But that is fine for me. I like that. It was actually like because you're just mostly pass blocking, it's kind of easier on your body as an offensive lineman because you're not bashing, you're not having like the same like high impact collisions because it's pass blocking is more passive. So I mean, you still have some wear and tear, but it seemed like it was easier on my body for sure.
How were you guys, the Huskies, that season?
We did pretty well. We were coming from the second division, so this was our first year in the top league, and we ended up being, I think, third place,
Mm-hmm.
and then we lost in the semis. So overall, a pretty successful season, I would say.
Do you have Roman Runner on that team?
We did. He was a great player for us.
Yeah, we had Roman down with us in Australia, so I know Roman. Roman's great.
Yeah,
So
we,
let's go
we
from
we
there.
had some battles with your boy Justin as well in Finland.
My boy, yeah, love Justin. He does that. They, he's good, great guy. So where'd you go from there?
So after that, I wanted to play somewhere kind of different from Finland. So I took a chance to play in southern France for the Nice Dolphins,
Oh wow.
which was really cool. It was the second league team in the south of France. So definitely different football wise. We had like maybe 15 guys at practice normally. We couldn't do 11 on 11, obviously. But the life in southern France was really cool, man. We could ride our bikes and be at the beach in 10 minutes and um, eating baguettes and cheese and drinking wine. It was a really good time.
Yeah. So that was more for just the experience going to see France, life in France. Then where'd you head from there?
Sure. So the French season ended, I think, uh, middle of May or something like that. So after that, I ended up jumping with Stan Bedwell again with the Allgäu Comets in Germany with Justin Sodeler there. So yeah, that was cool getting to play in Bavaria
Yeah.
because obviously my family connection there. So I got to have some family visit for games and see me play. And um, I would send them like, German news clips when we won a game and stuff like that. So that was cool for them to see like actually what I had been doing.
Yeah.
Like why I was always obsessed with this sport, that they don't know very well. So they got to see it in action, and obviously playing in Germany is a little bit different. Especially in Allgäu, there were more fans. The level is a bit higher. It's a little more serious football, which I have to say was really nice after France,
Yeah.
because France was more towards lifestyle, and then Germany was balanced more towards more serious football, which um, I was ready for again after France. So it was a great experience playing in Allgäu.
So is your German level that if you're living in Allgäu, you can walk around and no one would know the difference that you were raised in America, or is there a little twang to you?
I have a little bit of a Bavarian accent just because I was speaking with my family a lot. But if someone speaks to me for longer than 5 minutes or so, my American accent will come out a little bit. But just in passing, I can get away with it for sure.
You can get away with it as a German guy. Yeah, you guys had a great year there, and then where'd you go from there? Then it was over to Invaders, or what happened?
Sure, yeah. So after the season in Allgäu, got a chance to kind of join the Hildesheim Invaders when they were sort of gearing up this team with a bunch of different talent from like Casey Terrio and Anthony Dalblay. So that was really exciting to be a part of. And for the first part of the season, we were really good, and it was a lot of fun. It was also again like felt more like a pro there. Like there was a lot of fans, and we played. I would say in the north, it's a little bit higher level of football in the GFL than the south. There's some big dudes in the north for sure, and New Yorker Lions are a serious team. So yeah, it was a good level of football, and it was just a lot of fun playing with great players up there.
And then obviously some level of drama or something happened 3/4 of the way through that season, and it all kind of fell apart ish, or
Yeah, I think we were like 7-0 or something like that, and then we lost to New Yorker Lions by 7 points. Then we had some injuries, and our coach got fired um, with like 1 or 2 games left in the regular season. So it didn't end well, but the first half of the season was like some of the most fun I ever had playing football. We were putting up like 40, 50 points on people. So I'll remember the good parts of it. So yeah, it didn't really end the way we wanted. We had a lot of talent, and maybe we didn't went as far as we could have, but a lot of really good memories there as well.
and then so that was finishing the 2019 season. Were you thinking going into 2020? Were you planning on playing somewhere else, or what was kind of your plans?
Yeah, I had signed with the Basel Gladiators in Switzerland because I
Oh,
was looking for something kind of new football wise in a new country. Um, so I was in Switzerland for around 3 weeks, like around this time of year, a year ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. And then I remember we had one practice off because of Corona, and we were kind of like, oh, okay, just one practice off. And then obviously everything got canceled, and I flew home. And then I was thinking about maybe playing in Finland, but uh, speaking of injuries, again, I had got injured in the only the 3 weeks that I was in Switzerland, so it was just better for me not to play this past year.
And so, where's your mind kind of gone since then, and what are you thinking about now, and your future with football and all that kind of stuff?
So right now I'm just focusing on AFI. I'm writing for American Football International, which has been really cool. I started that in the summer during lockdown when I just needed a productive outlet and I was missing the game. I started writing about the few leagues that were playing, and then I actually just signed to play in Finland again about 2 weeks ago for Stan Bedwell again in second league Finland for Rovaniemi Nordman. So
Nice.
this summer, right now Finland's borders are closed, which makes me a little nervous, but I think at some point we'll play because they played last year as well. So that'll be fun.
So, what led you to the UK to study?
Sure. So I wanted to study. UK has great 1 year master's programs for EU students that can do it relatively cheap and with the EU rate. And this was the last year that they had the EU rate, before Brexit happened. So took advantage of that. I'm studying marketing and advertising. It's been a lot of online Zoom classes, but overall, I'm in a good situation here, so I can't complain too much about it.
Yeah, 100%. So, if I had to say the state of O line play in Europe, I think you'll have found this with every team that I can call a practice in whatever country I want, and I'll have 30 receivers show up, and I'll have 4 offensive linemen, and then I don't really have an offensive line coach. It's up to me to say, I don't know what a 3-point stance is. I don't know who should be in a 2-point. I don't know how to pass set, but I'm coaching the O line. So, how have you seen that in your times, and how have you addressed coaching and teaching O lines?
Yeah, I think the situation with O-line in Europe is similar to maybe like um, small college in the States where you see like the two position groups that are weakest are defensive back and O-line. And I think that mirrors in Europe as well. But yeah, it's tough. I feel like you don't usually have a lot of imports as O linemen. It's usually domestic guys. So, and I found it's usually older guys, like in their 30s with other commitments.
Yeah.
And you want to tell them be a practice, but you know that they have real life stuff going on. They're not. This is not their priority. Like it might be for you or I. Um, so yeah, it's tough for sure. I would say, if you're an O line coach in Europe, you might have to kind of meet your linemen halfway, like send them notes from the game so they can do something at home. Just keep putting the ball in their court as much as you can and pushing them to do stuff at home, maybe where they don't have to commit as much time, but they can still see progress.
If you were going to coach coaches on how to coach O line, because there's a lot of us out there that are coaching O lines that we haven't done it, what's kind of your basics of how to get an O line from this guy's never played football before to functional?
Oh, okay. I would say the main thing is you want to have a level of aggression and a level of, uh, I would say, like balance and feet. I would say it starts with the feet, like getting guys to take small steps. I think a lot of times, um, well, first off, you want them to be aggressive, right? So you need guys that have a little bit of football instinct. If you can find that, that's the first step, right? Secondly, is kind of controlling this. So not having big steps, not lunging, not oversetting, playing with controlled aggression, I think is something that offensive linemen at all levels can work on, and something that O-line coaches maybe need to harp on this theme more in Europe.
So what is if I had to say what are your goals with it from here going forward then? Because you've had a very different different country, highest of leagues, lower leagues in France. What's kind of your goal with it going forward, and like what's your life like? Where are you headed? What you trying to head for?
Good question, Ty. I'm not really sure. So I'm going to be 27 in August. So I feel like I need to find a place to kind of settle for a bit. Like kind of stay in one place for a while because I've been jumping around different cities a lot. Um, so I just need to find a place where I can.
Wait,
Um,
have you enjoyed that, or is that something that you do want to change? Because
I,
sometimes
I
it's nice
have
to be in
I
country.
have enjoyed it, but I think I'm ready for the to pick one spot and stay in it for in the next few years. I want to find a spot and stay in it,
Yeah.
ideally. Um,
So, of the places you've been so far, what's kind of been most towards your you've got EU, you've got everywhere in the EU open to you, got everywhere in the States open to you. What do you think is kind of you found is most your ethos?
yeah, I would say I really liked Germany, Finland, and the UK are the three places I would like to stay. Obviously, I like the United States. I grew up there. I consider that my home, but I think it would just be, I don't know. I really like living in Europe in general. So, um, yeah, I definitely look for opportunities in UK, Finland, and Germany. Those were three places I really enjoyed. France was tough because the English level is not high, and I don't speak French. So, it was beautiful, but yeah, UK, Finland, and Germany definitely the three places I really enjoyed.
Do you struggle with any homesickness or anything like this, or do you feel like no, this is kind of I'm a European, kind of living over here. This is my thing now.
Pretty much the latter, I think. So I've been here since 2017. So yeah, it's around 4 years now that I've pretty much been living in Europe. So I don't really have the homesickness. I go home to America usually once or twice a year and see friends and family. So that's nice. But yeah, I feel like Europe is my home for sure.
Hmm. Do you? So this is one thing with me where I was worried about settling in a country that didn't speak. I speak decent Spanish. Speaking Spanish every day, like I don't know if I could speak Spanish every single day of my life. Do you have that with Germany, or is it not too much of a factor because you grew up in it and you're that good at it?
Yeah, I could see myself living in Germany. I don't see the language as a barrier. I had like a full-time job when I was in Hildesheim speaking German in the office, so that really helped my German like excel even more. Just because I didn't have like a lot of vocabulary that like you would need for like adult life in Germany, I guess is the best way to put it. So yeah, I don't see the language as a barrier for Germany.
So your dad didn't know German and then had to learn for your mom?
Yeah, so he would like before Christmas every year, he would spend like a few weeks before Christmas, like in his study, going over German words. But because the dialect is so Bavarian, I think it was tough for him.
So do you
But
you speak better German learning from birth than he does learning later in life?
definitely, yeah, I was super lucky, like having that second language in my life from an early age. Just gave me like a solid base, and then when I went to Denison, I needed to take a language class, and I had taken Spanish in high school, but I thought, okay, I'll take German, like because I already know it pretty well, and I can just get an A. So I took German, and then I just kept taking German classes, and then it was my second major. So that obviously took my German to another level as well.
Yeah. So what's the name of the team you're going to be playing for in Finland when they open borders?
Sure, the Rovaniemi Nordman. So they
Rovaniemi Nordman.
Yeah, Rovaniemi is within 4,000 kilometers of the North Pole, I believe. So they're right on the Arctic Circle, is what this radius is called.
Yeah.
And it's like the unofficial town of Santa Claus. They have like a Santa Claus village, and they have a American football team that is looking to build a program. So I'm excited to be a part of that.
Is there how many divisions are there over in Finland? Is it just the main one and then the second division, or is there more than that?
I think there's like four divisions. Could
Hmm.
be wrong. So yeah, we're playing in the second division. Last year they played like 5 games in the second division. So they have Maple League and then they call it First Division. So we're First Division, but it's
Yeah.
really like the second division. Um,
Is it a newer club or what's the story of the club?
I think they've been around since the 80s, I believe.
Hmm.
I could be wrong. Don't have to check me on that. But yeah, they played last year. They lost some games. They were pretty badly, but like withstand. I'm really excited to be playing with him again. And really has a great track record of turning around teams in Europe. And I really enjoyed living in Finland, so it's a good match for me.
Definitely. And you'll be in a coaching role as well, kind of helping develop the guys.
Yeah, so I'll be online playing and the online coach there as well. So I'll get to kind of get some coaching experience as well with playing in Finland, and just it's kind of cool because it was the first team I went to in Europe, and now I'm coming back to that country. Obviously, it's not the same team, but it's the same country and same coach, so there's some similarities. So it's going to be nice. It's like a little bit of nostalgia is coming with it for sure.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. All right, so I've got Alex Malchow. Check out his writing on American Football International. Articles going up about all over the world, covering all the football leagues. There's tons of football leagues. People are football fans. They could look at leagues in Spain, Finland, Germany, a new European football league, Ireland. Let's not forget us. So it's just crazy that people could be fans of all these leagues, and it's right there. You get to know the teams, get to know the players. So follow his stuff there. Anything else? Your social medias? Anything that people can follow?
Sure, you can follow me on Instagram for more American Football International stuff and football in Finland and anything else. Chow_down64.
Shout down. Yeah, the man. Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Ty.